Hi, we're going to finish up chapter 6 in the spotlights from the book that I've been using. This is the third one, Simulating the Game of Chohan. So we pull this over here and I'll go through it with you so you kind of understand what we're doing. So Chohan is a traditional Japanese gambling game in which a dealer uses a cup to roll two six-sided dice. The cup is placed upside down on a table so that the value of the dice is concealed. Players then wager on whether the sum of the dice values is even, cho, or odd, han. The winner or winners take all of the wagers, or the house takes them if there are no winners. So we're going to develop a program that simulates a simplified variation of the game. The simulated game will have a dealer and two players. The players will not wager money, but will simply guess whether the sum of the dice values is even, cho, or odd, han. 1 point will be awarded to the player or players correctly guessing the outcome. The game will play for 5 rounds, and the player with the most points is the grand winner. In the program, we will use the die class, so you have to make sure that you have the die class in the same folder where you save this. So either save this in the same folder, or you can do like I did and copy the die class out and paste it into the other folder. We will create 2 instances of the class to represent 2 six-sided dice. In addition to the die class, we will write the following classes. We will have a dealer class. We will create an instance of this class to represent the dealer. It will have the ability to roll the dice, report the value of the dice, and report whether the total dice value is cho or han. Then the player class will create 2 instances of this class to represent the players. Instances of the player class can store the player's name, make a guess between cho and han, and be awarded points. So first we're going to look at the dealer class. We have the UML here. So we have 2 attributes, die 1 value and die 2 value, and then the constructor, and then 4 methods, roll dice, get cho or han, get die 1 value, get die 2 value. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on creating this. So I'm going to open this up here. I'm going to do a new folder, which I've already got created out there, simulating game Chohan. And then it's going to do my trusted thing here. There we go. And then new file. This is going to be called dealer.java. Okay, so we're going to do public class dealer. And then we got our 2 attributes. Both of them are int, die 1 value, and die 2 value. Then our constructor. And here we're going to do die 1 value is going to be equal to 0, and die 2 value is also going to be equal to 0. Again, okay, there we go. Okay, so then our roll dice. So we're going to have a constant final int side, which is going to be equal to 6. And then die 1 is going to be equal to new die. I don't know why that's not coming up. There we go. And then die 2 equals new die sides. Okay. So then we're going to have die1 value is going to be equal to die1 dot get value, and die2 value will be equal to die2 dot get value. And that's the end of our roll. Okay, so we need to do our get cho or han. So public string get cho or han, string result, when we get the result what we're doing, int sum equals die1 value plus die2 value. If sum mod 2, oops, that didn't go there, equals 0, then result equals cho, which is even. Okay, that's right there. So it goes there, end quote. There we go. So else result equals han, which is odd. Okay, and that's all there is there. So then what we have to do, get out of there and then return result. Okay. Next one is our get die1 value. And all we're going to do is return die1 value. Okay. And then we need our get2 value, die2 value, and our return die2 value. Okay, so that's our whole class. Kind of scan through it a little bit. I don't see any underlines in there, so everything looks good. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and save this. So take a closer look at this. The line numbers aren't going to match up with what I have, but we have the two fields, attributes, die1 value and die2 value. The constructor then initializes these to 0. In the roll dice method, this simulates the rolling of the dice. You create two die objects. Recall that the die class constructor performs an initial roll of the die, so there is no need to call the die objects roll method, okay, because it'll automatically roll them when we call them here, and then so then we have those values. Okay. The cho or han method returns a string indicating whether the sum of the dice is even or odd, and we do that with the sum mod 2, which is going to return either a 0 or a 1. And then we get the die1 value method and the get die2 value methods. Okay, so then we got the player, and let me bring this over here, and you can see the UML for this. This one has 3 fields or attributes: name, guess, and points, and then the constructor, and then 5 Just a minute here, real quick. There we go. The five methods: make guess, add points, get name, get guess, and get points. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the code for this one. So this one's going to be called player. So I'm going to do a file, new file, player.java. Just going to save in the same folder. And this one we need to import our random. So we got import java.util.random. And then our class. Okay, our three attributes: private string name, private string guess, and private int points. To our constructor, public player string player name. So then in here, name is going to be equal to player name. Guess is going to be equal to quote quote, because we don't have a guess yet, and points is going to be equal to 0 because we don't have any points yet. Okay, so our first method is going to be make guess. And we're not returning any value for this. We're just going to have it make the guess. No parameters. So we got to get a random object. So random rand equals new random. And then it guess number is going to be equal to rand dot next int 2. That's going to be the number that they need to guess. So now if guess number equals 0, that means that guess equals cho, which is even. Else guess is going to be equal to on, which is odd. So that's the end of that one. Let me scroll here so we can see this better. So the next one's going to be to add points. Down here, there we go. Public void add points. We're not returning anything. We're just adding points. Passing in new points. So points plus equals new points. And that's all there is to that. Next one, public string get name. Which is going to be to return name. Public string get guess, which is going to be to return guess. And then public int get points, which is to return points. So we can kind of go through this a little bit. Let me go ahead and get this saved so I don't forget to do that. So go through this a little bit here. We have the field names, attributes that I call them, name, guess, and points are all declared. Then in the constructor, we initialize those. The name is to the player name, the guess is an empty string, and points is equal to 0. The make guess method generates a random number that is either a 0 or a 1. The if statement then assigns the string cho even to the guess field if the random number is 0, and assigns the string han odd to the guess field if the random number is 1. Add points method adds the number of points specified by the argument, and then get name returns the name, get guess returns the guess, and get points returns the points. Okay, so we got all that. Next thing then is to actually play the game. So that's going to be the last file that we're going to create here. New file, we're going to call this Chohan, CHOHAN, capital C, capital H, .java. Be in the same folder as the others. Okay, so we're going to need to import the scanner on this because we're going to need information from the players. So import, whoops, wrong line. Import java.util.scanner, and then public class Chohan. Whoops. Keep switching on me here. There we go. Okay. So then we got our main. So first thing is we're going to have a constant, which is the max rounds, which are going to be equal to 5. We're going to have a string, player 1 name, and a string, player 2 name. Set up our keyboard or our scanner object. Okay, so then system.out.print, enter the first player's name. Get rid of this thing over here. So then player 1 name is going to be equal to our keyboard dot next line. And then enter the second player's name. And that's going to be player 2 name equals keyboard dot next line. Okay, so we need to create the dealer. Dealer with a capital D, dealer with a lowercase d equals new dealer, and then we create our objects. that was the dealer object. Now we need our player objects. Player 1 equals new player. We got passed in the name, which is our player 1 name, and then player 2 equals new player, which is our player 2 name. Okay, so now let's do a for loop to run through this on here. For int round equals 0, round less than max rounds, round plus plus. So we need to print out like a little heading thing. So we're going to do just a bunch of underlines here, and I have no idea how many to put out there. I'm just going to go like this, and I can always adjust it later on there. Then we want to do a now playing round %d. I'm going to change this to a printf. Okay, %d dot \n, comma, round plus 1. Whoops. Quote mark should have went here and not here. There we go. So I'm going to do dealer dot roll dice, and then player 1 dot make guess. Player 2 dot make guess. And then round results dealer, player 1, and player 2. Okay. That ends the for loop. Okay, so now we're going to display the grand winner. Passing in player 1 and player 2. Okay, so that ends the main method. And so we got to put in our round results. I'm not really sure why these are not underlined here. My only guess would be is that because I've run this before to make sure I got everything working right on it, that it remembers that stuff is there or something. I don't know. But anyway, we'll go ahead and put these in here. So oops. So let's see, where am I here? Public, static, void, round results. We have dealer, player, player 1, and player 2. So then here we're going to do system.out.printf. Dealer rolled %d and %d. \n in here. This ends the quote, comma, dealer dot get die1 value, comma, and dealer dot get die to value. Okay, so I'm running out of room on here, so what I'm going to do is right here, press enter and tab this over. Okay. That will make it so it doesn't take up so much room on there. Okay, so then we're going to do a system.out.printf result colon percent, let's put a space in there, percent s \n in the quote dealer dot get cho or hot. Okay. So now that we got that, now we need to check guess player 1 dealer and check guess player 2 dealer. Okay, that ends that method. So go ahead and do the next one. This is the check guess. Public static void check guess player and dealer. Okay, so we got a constant points to add. It's going to be equal to 1. We have a string guess. It's going to be equal to player dot get guess, and then we have a string cho han result, which is going to be equal to dealer dot get cho or han. We'll print out the player percent s. That's my dog. Close my door just a second. Won't be quite as loud. Okay. The player percent s. See where I left off here. Guessed percent s dot \n and quote comma, then we'll go down to the next line here, player dot get name comma player dot get guess. Okay, so I'll do an if statement here. If guess dot equals ignore case, cho han result, player dot add points points to add. And then system.out.printf a warning %d point, and do this because it could be 1 point or multiple points, to %s dot \n, do a comma there, enter, points to add, comma, player dot get name. Okay, so that ends the if statement and it ends the method. So now we have is the display grand winner. So I'll put that stuff in here. This was kind of long. This is the display grand winner. You can pass in player 1, and player 2. Okay, a bunch of print statements. System.out.println. It's going to be a bunch of underlines here, so I'm just going to go out like that. I don't know how far to go. We'll just do that. System.out.println. Game over. Here are the results. System.out.printf. %s colon space %d points \n, end the quote, comma, player 1 dot get name. Oh, sorry. Get name, comma, player 1 dot get points. And then system.out.printf. This is going to be the same thing except for player 2. So what I'm going to do to make this a little bit easier is do a copy on all this down through here. And go inside here and do a paste. I'm going to have an extra parenthesis, so I'll delete that off of there. And then all I have to do is go in here and change the player 1 to 2 on both of these. Okay, so now we've got an if statement here to see who won. So if player 1 dot get points is greater than player 2 dot get points, and we're just going to indent here, we're not going to do the little curly braces. System.out.println player 1 dot, oh, no quote. Player 1 dot get name plus now quote is the grand winner. Else if player 2 dot get points is greater than player 1 dot get points, and this one's going to be, and what I'm going to do is copy and paste this in and just change the 1 to a 2. Control C, go down here, Control V, 2. And then we've got an else on here. System.out.println. Both players are tied. Okay, so there's an extra parentheses down there. We need to get rid of that. Okay, so glance through here. We got a lot of code that we haven't been able to test anything out on. So hopefully we got everything in here correctly. If we run into too many errors, I'll stop and just see what we go from there, Arnett. So let's see what happens. There's our first one. Our method roll dice is undefined in the type dealer. So let's go to dealer. And there it is there. I got rolled dice. I don't understand why it says it's undefined. Because it's right there. It'd be nice if it would take me to where the error was. It says it's in Chohan made in line 27, so let's see if we can find that. Dealer. Oh, there we go. I got a capital R on there, so it did help me out there. Okay. Let's run this again and see, because we're still in the running part of this. There we go. So I'm going to enter player name 1, enter player names 2, and then we'll look at the results of all this. Okay, so in round 1, dealer rolled a 1 and a 2. Result, Han, odd. The player Mary guessed odd. The player Jack guessed even. So Mary got 1 point. So now playing round 2, the dealer rolled 2 and 1. Result, Han guessed odd. I'm sorry, the result was odd. Han. Player Mary guessed odd. Jack guessed odd. So they each got 1 point. Round through 3. Dealer rolled a 6 and a 5, so that makes it odd. So player Mary guessed even, Jack guessed odd, so Jack got 1 point. Round 4 was a 5 and a 6, so it was even. So Mary guessed even and Jack guessed even, so they each got a point. And then round 5 was 6 and 2, which was even. They both guessed odd, so neither one got a point. So they end up 3-3, so both players tied. Okay, so that worked really good. I hope that you understood all that we did in here and how you can make separate classes and tie them together to create a pretty nice program. Bye.